All right, it is 10 o'clock on the dot. We're live on Facebook and the recording is going.
And do you want to provide some housekeeping tips to everyone?
Sure. So on Zoom, if you're participating on the call, it's really easy to talk over each other in this format. So outside of our speakers, if we have any guests on the Zoom call, questions are welcome at any time. Just try to use the raise hand feature, which you can find by clicking the participants key down at that black ribbon at the bottom. I'm going to be keeping an eye on the chat box, and you can find chat by scrolling down to the bottom and hovering over that black ribbon at the bottom and clicking chat, and then you can type in the chat box. For our participants on Facebook, I'm going to be kind of toggling back and forth to keep an eye on the comment thread. So feel free, if you have a question, drop it in the comments below the video, and I'll be happy to bring those to our speakers.
Good morning, I'm Tish Williams, Executive Director of the Hancock County Chamber of Commerce. And today we are honored to have members of MEMA, FEMA, and the U.S. Small Business Administration with us today to bring some clarity to our residents and our businesses on how the process that they need to go through to make themselves whole again after Hurricane Zeta. And, you know, it's been a long time since Hurricane Katrina, and I've had a great interaction with the Mississippi Small Business Development Center, the SBA, FEMA, MEMA, in the aftermath of that disaster. Our Business Resource Center, which we set up after Katrina, actually was recognized by the SBA with the Phoenix Award. And so we have a long-standing relationship with all of these agencies, and they are here to provide a service to us, both as residents and businesses. And sometimes, you know, we get a little rusty on why we need to do certain things because it can be confusing. It's like, well, what does MEMA and FEMA have to do with SBA? So that's what we're going to talk about today. So today I want to introduce Todd DeMuth, the State Coordinating Officer for the Mississippi Emergency Management Agency, to just give us an intro and overview of how this process works. Todd?
Good morning, Tish, and good morning to everybody on the call, everybody on Facebook Live. First of all, I appreciate the opportunity to speak to you guys this morning as a group. One of the challenges, Tish, as you've just mentioned, that we face as an agency and as an operation post-event, specifically once it becomes federally declared, is getting the word out to the entire population of the affected area, to include the business owners, to include the folks that normally wouldn't get this information via traditional means. So we're having to be incredibly creative. And this is just an opportunity to do that. I appreciate, first of all, the Hancock County Chamber of Commerce for putting this together for the benefit of the entire coastal community. I can't thank you enough for doing that. It's just another conduit for us to push this information out. And not only that, to maybe provide some clarity within the process itself, and you know, who's eligible, who's not, and what eligible actually means to the individual and to the small businesses. So you know, as the state coordinating officer, it's my duty to work with the federal coordinating officer to within reason ensure that all eligible applicants have the opportunity to apply for and receive some sort of federal assistance following this traumatic event. You know, it happened, even though it happened 3 months ago, there are still a great majority of the impacted citizens and businesses that are still feeling the effects of it. And we know that very well. We would love to find a way that would make everybody completely whole, but we have to use the tools in our toolbox that are available to us. And we're going to pull every one that we have out to ensure that we reach total coverage throughout this event. So I can't thank you enough, Tish, and to your team, for everybody that put this together. I appreciate everybody again attending this, and looking forward to the dialogue and the questions to follow. So that's all I have this morning. Thank you very much, and I'll turn it over to my esteemed colleague, Mr. Brett Howard from FEMA.
Thank you, Todd. I appreciate that. As y'all can see, I am traveling this morning. I'm not driving. I'm a passenger in the vehicle. So I'll probably cut my video off here in a minute because I am on Wi-Fi and it's or a MiFi and it's in and out of coverage. But I want to thank y'all all for the opportunity to talk to you today about federal disaster assistance and how FEMA works in this process, and that we're here to help Mississippi recover from Hurricane Zeta. And some of you on the call may have been affected by the hurricane, either your business or your home. Somebody, your neighbors, or even some of your employees may have losses and experienced some losses during this. And so I want to take the opportunity to explain what FEMA can do to help individuals and households. And in a few minutes, my federal partner, Demetria Clark, will come on and talk about the Small Business Administration, the SBA, and how they work into this process and how they can help you as well as homeowners, renters, nonprofits, and others. So I'll start by explaining the differences between FEMA assistance and SBA. FEMA is a grant. It is a grant to you. It's non-taxable. It doesn't have to be repaid. SBA, on the other hand, is a loan, a low interest loan, and there is a payment schedule and a repayment of that needs to be made. And they can talk about that. FEMA is limited. We can't duplicate other benefits. If you had insurance or a loan or anything like that. So we work closely with the SBA to make sure that we don't duplicate benefits, because FEMA and the SBA we're dealing with taxpayers' dollars, and we have to be a good steward of those dollars. And Congress has laid out very specific guidelines, laws, rules, policies that we have to follow, both us and the SBA, and how we deliver recovery to and through these programs. I think if you can put up the flow chart, I'll address that real quick. If somebody can add to the screen.
Okay, there you go.
All right, thank you. Yes, I'm not going to read that verbatim, but I do want to hit on basically a summary of what's going on here and in this. You have, of course, the disaster happens, and in Mississippi, y'all have great ability through the voluntary agencies, through mass care, to do sheltering, to do clothing and basic needs, and start meeting the needs of those that have been affected by the storm. And then you have those that have insurance, which is great. That's always the way to go is insurance. Have your home and your valuables insured, because that is the quickest way to recover from a storm. And in the next bullet or the next block, it says federal assistance may be available. And that is up to, one, did we have enough damage? Is there enough impact that the state has exceeded its ability to help those that are in need? And if so, the president will declare a disaster declaration. Now, there's two that he declares, and they get really confusing to the general public. What we're talking about today is individual assistance, or an IA declaration. The other type of declaration is public assistance. And people see public assistance thinking that's going to apply to the general public, but that is for public property. That is for those cities, counties, municipalities, small towns, certain private nonprofits, and those type of agencies. So we deal with individual assistance, and that's what we're talking about today. So with the individual assistance declaration that we have here in Mississippi, you have FEMA housing assistance, you have the rental assistance, you have repair, meaning if your home got destroyed and you're uninsured and you qualify for the FEMA grant, then we can help you with rental assistance while your home is being repaired or something like that. Skipping on down. So I was not going to go through all this, but I want to talk about the process. So when it's open and we have a disaster declaration, you apply to FEMA and you're applying for the grant. But when I'm talking about policies, procedures, when you fill out all that information, what you're eligible for FEMA we can immediately start looking at that and rolling out funds to help you in your recovery. Where we then the next part of the process is we're going to ask you, you're going to receive something from the Small Business Administration. Whether you're a business or a homeowner, businesses are going to apply directly to SBA, and the homeowners will see an SBA application come in the mail. That's part of the process. Please fill it out. Make sure you fill that out. If you are eligible to receive a loan, doesn't mean you've got to take it. But if you do not fill that out and complete that application process, your ability to even receive the grant has stopped. So you need to keep talking to your constituents, your citizens, and tell them, look, you don't have to take the loan, but you got to fill out the paperwork. So once that's done, if you qualify for an SBA loan, then SBA will contact you and see if you want to, how you want to proceed with that in your recovery. It may or may not be something you want to do. If you don't qualify for a loan, then the FEMA recovery program step in. But what I want everybody to understand is SBA is so much larger and can do so much more than FEMA can do. We have limits on the amount of money we can give anybody. And it's basically just a little bit above $35,000 is the most a FEMA grant can be. So if you had a $100,000 home, FEMA is not going to come in and make you whole again. But however, we will give you a hand up and help you with everything that we can legally through what Congress has appropriated, what they say we can do. We will make sure and work with the state to make sure you get every dime you're eligible for through our program. Right now, we have given out in the state of Mississippi about $3.9 million. That is the FEMA grant side. SBA, typically on disasters this size, will double or triple our efforts. When I say SBA has a lot more, they do. So right now, and SBA can talk about their numbers, but they're probably close to doubling us right now on funds coming out. And then after you go through that process and either a loan or a FEMA grant, there's still unmet needs out there that things that don't get paid for on any program. And that's where the volunteer agencies, the unmet needs committees that MEMA has, the state of Mississippi has, fall in to try to catch those that fall through the cracks and help in that way. So it's really a whole community approach. We look at everything we can, and I'm talking about federal programs on the FEMA side is grants, as the SBA is loans. And so if right now those that are eligible for that live in George, Greene, Hancock, Harrison, Jackson, and Stone counties, you're eligible for FEMA and SBA assistance. You can register in several ways. You can visit disasterassistance.gov, use the FEMA app, or call the 1-800-621-3362, 1-800-621-3362. And the application deadline is March the 1st, 2021. So don't wait too late. Go ahead. If you had damage and you need help in your recovery, please go ahead and call that number and register. Don't wait to March the 1st and call. And I will, I think I've covered about everything I need to cover, not trying to take everybody's time on this on the federal side, because I know we're here to talk about SBA. But if there's any questions anybody has, I'll be glad to answer them, and I'll turn it over to SBA.
Okay, next is Demetria Clark, Public Affairs Specialist with the SBA, and she's going to give us a program overview. Demetria?
Good morning, Tish. Thank you so much to the Hancock Chamber and to our MEMA and FEMA partners. And Brett, that was a great segue, and you did such a great job of explaining the importance of returning those applications. But and also to my SBDC coworker, I'm so glad you're on. I wish I could be there, but we're learning to work in a whole new environment. So as Brett and Todd mentioned, SBA disaster loans are designed to basically make the disaster survivor whole. And those disaster loans are available to homeowners, renters, businesses, of course, nonprofits, including churches, faith-based organizations, and private nonprofit organizations. So as of yesterday, the last number I saw was about $7.8 million in disaster loans that have been approved so far in Mississippi. And but thank you. The slide is up showing just overnight the big change that occurred. So I haven't updated that slide yet. And if you could move on to the next one. One thing that Brett stressed is so important is to return the application, even if you don't think you need the loan, even if you don't want to take it. But my first message is apply. You never know what may happen when you apply, and you don't have to wait for an insurance settlement to do so. That's very important. And a lot of people think that they're going to have to, they're struggling. I know Mississippi has been hit by a lot of disasters, and there's a lot of concern about multiple loans and things like that. Each disaster declaration is viewed separately. So if you have your business and you have a COVID loan and you're concerned about that, and you have a previous disaster loan, go ahead and apply anyway, because we look at everything separately. Each disaster is different. So we're going to look at each situation differently. And as Brett mentioned, the deadlines are very important. You know, you have a couple of options now since we're operating in a virtual environment. As I said, I wish I could be there, but SBA, in the absence of being able to set up a physical recovery center, established a virtual disaster loan outreach center. Those customer service representatives at those centers are available 7 days a week. They're the same people that you would have met if you had come into a physical disaster center in Mississippi. And please call them. They are the experts. They will answer your questions. If you need help completing the application, they'll do that. Or if you want, you can go ahead and start your own application and maybe complete it. SBA's secure website is available, and there's a link there, disasterloan.sba.gov. In addition to linking to the electronic application, you can also look at some of the fact sheets. We have fact sheets for businesses, for homeowners associations, and of course for renters. So go ahead and apply and see what happens. Again, you don't have to take the loan. You don't have to take the full amount, and payments can be delayed. If you go to the next slide. Again, and that's, again, thanks to my SBDC partner who's on and other partner agencies that would be on. But that's just showing how far-reaching our assistance, our loan programs reach people. And that's what we're trying to do. And we really appreciate this opportunity to help businesses and individuals get back on their feet. And you can go to the next one. And this is showing, of course, some of the loan limits for homeowners with real estate damage. You can apply for up to $200,000 to repair or replace that. Renters and homeowners who need to repair or replace their personal property, such as furniture, your cars, your clothing, things of that nature. And the business physical loans can go up to $2 million, as well as the economic injury loans. And again, I know that's a big concern, and there have been multiple disasters. A business does not have to have physical damage to apply for an economic injury loan. And again, we encourage you to just go ahead and go online and apply. Or if you want someone, a customer service representative to provide that one-on-one assistance, they are available 7 days a week from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And you can go to the next one. These are just some of the benefits of applying for the SBA loan. As you can see, there's no cost to apply. The terms are very flexible. The funds are available in advance of the insurance settlement. And as Brett mentioned, there is no duplication of benefits. Once your insurance comes in, those loan, that can be applied towards your loan. So again, there's also the option for possibly you may qualify for mitigation assistance to help prepare you for future disasters. So if you can go to the next slide. All right, so again, there's no obligation to accept the loan. Please don't wait for insurance settlements. We can work with that. And we encourage everyone to go ahead and register online with FEMA. As you see, disasterassistance.gov, or download the FEMA app. And again, the physical damage application deadline is the first one that's coming up. That's March 1st. Please don't wait. Go ahead and apply as soon as possible. And we really want to help, and we really appreciate this opportunity to get the word out.
Okay, thank you, Demetria. I'm going to use myself as an example here, because I think this is how I was looking at it. I didn't even think about applying to FEMA or SBA when Hurricane Zeta hit. The first thing I did is I went to my insurance agent and I put in a claim, and then the adjuster came out and, you know, went back to the insurance company with what they thought the damage estimate should be for insurance. I also went to a roofing company because some of my roof came off, and I got an estimate on what that would cost to replace my roof. Here I am, okay, it's now January the 22nd. I've taken no action whatsoever because guess what? I'm used to Hurricane Katrina damage. It didn't even dawn on me that I should and could apply through FEMA and SBA to get the kind of, you know, to make myself whole again, because guess what? The insurance is not going to cover all the damages. This is what I, you know, found out. They're not going to cover my fence that got blown down. They're only going to partially be able to help me replace part of my roof, not all of my roof, because not all the roof came off, but the whole roof's going to have to be replaced. So how am I going to pay for this? So thank goodness you brought this to my attention. All right, because this is what we all need to know. And I think the main thing people need to know is that they first have to register with FEMA, right? And they may or may not be eligible for a grant.
Right.
And if they are not eligible for a grant, they could be eligible for an SBA loan, but they cannot get the SBA disaster loan until they first register with FEMA. And then that opens the door to the disaster loan. So
exactly,
you know, it's confusing because of the name of the SBA is Small Business Administration. So it makes you think, oh, that's just for businesses. No, it's for individual homeowners, etc., and businesses. So that's what we have got to get the word out on.
Right. And until I was hired into this position, I didn't know that. I thought actually there was a disaster, a little bit of a tropical storm damage in my area. And I remember the FEMA person coming out and being referred to SBA. And I thought, why are they referring me to SBA? Of course, that was many years ago. And now it's all sinking in. And that again, like you said, people really need to make sure they go ahead. If FEMA refers them, they need to go ahead and just complete the application. It's not going to cost anything, and that's going to keep them eligible for other benefits down the line, other assistance.
The deadline is
also, like you said, that you tried your insurance and then register with FEMA. And one coworker described it. He explained it to me like this. He said it's think of recovery as like a three-legged stool. So you try your insurance, you file there, you register with FEMA, and then SBA again is to, like, FEMA gets you safe and secure and everything, and SBA is going to come around and try to get you back to where you were before the disaster occurred. So it's very important to follow through with those applications.
And of course, you know, as the chamber director, I hear from our business owners saying, we don't need more loans. We want grants. Why can't we get grants? But the best we can do here is you might be eligible for a grant through FEMA, but you can definitely look into a low interest loan to help make you whole again. And that's what I'm going to have to do. I'm going to have to get a low interest loan to fix my fence that's not covered by my insurance and to fix some of the other things that the insurance is not going to cover. And do we have any questions from our audience?
There is one in the chat box over here, and I think that we've addressed it. So if one had damage but did not meet the insurance deductible and FEMA has denied them, should they then go to SBA?
Yes, we encourage everyone to apply. It's not going to cost anything. It's very easy. You can do it yourself, or you can, even if you want to download a paper application, you can do that. It's worth the effort to just see. You never know what you may be eligible for. And our customer service representatives and loan officers are very experienced. So they're going to try to help you in any way they can.
So Demetria, you have the virtual business center, but you also have, or is this the FEMA offices that have been opened in various locations throughout the country?
Oh, I think that's FEMA and MEMA.
Okay.
Yeah, we have a virtual center, but FEMA and MEMA have a
So I don't know if Todd wants to address that. There is a center open here in Hancock County at the Hancock Resource Center. Rhonda Rhodes is the executive director of that. It's located right next to Pearl River Community College in the shopping center that's where Claiborne Hills is located. Todd, did you want to say anything about that?
Absolutely. By the way, a fantastic location. So what those centers are, we call them registration intake centers. So as Demetria mentioned, in most cases, FEMA and MEMA are going virtual with recovery to the most reasonable degree possible. That being said, we by virtue of working a ton of disasters in the past, we understand that there's always going to be a segment of the population that that doesn't have the ability, for whatever reason, to apply for FEMA assistance in a traditional virtual method, via online or via the phone call, the 1-800 number. So these centers were set up to run for 2 weeks. So unfortunately, they're going to close at noon tomorrow in all locations except for Jackson, because they were a week later getting open. But the concept for those centers was to for folks that didn't understand how to get registered, we could walk them through that process to the registration process. And because those centers are closing doesn't mean that registration is closed. It doesn't mean we're going to message it in all platforms that are available to us that they can in fact still go through the registration process. And hopefully, talking to the chambers and the good people on the coastal areas, we can get help with that. You'll see the common trend in this discussion, this dialogue, is you don't get anything if you don't apply. You have no avenue of assistance whatsoever if you do not apply. And again, you're not obligated to anything as a result of applying, but you're certainly not going to have any idea what might be available to you if you don't at least go begin the process and register with FEMA. So, you're going to hear me say that over and over and over: register, and then see, you'll at least know on the back end what is and isn't available to you. So for instance, if SBA doesn't help you, and we tried every part of the three-legged stool, as Demetria mentioned, then we've got to figure out another way to try to provide assistance to those citizens. And our volunteer organizations are catalysts to do that. As well, we do have some small avenues of assistance from the state, but nothing to the degree that FEMA can provide and the SBA can provide. But but what we'll do on the back end of all this, for those that do fall through the cracks, for lack of a better term, is we're going to try to identify those humans and try to hook them up with the proper volunteer agencies to see if we can't get them whole in some sort of way or another, to make their life just a little bit more bearable, if you will, as opposed to what it could be at this moment. So as a result of the damages from Hurricane Zeta. So I know I rambled there a little bit, but I hope I cleared that up. That those centers, to get back to the original point, their sole concept was to add another avenue of registration assistance for the coastal community.
So apply, I guess is the word here. Don't forget the deadlines again. I think you said that the deadline for economic injury is October 1st, 2021. And physical injury, the deadline is March the 1st. Is that correct? 2021. So apply with FEMA. And if you're eligible for a grant there, great. If not, you could be eligible for a low interest loan. And if you don't find relief in either one of those areas, what Todd was saying is there are nonprofits out there that are there to assist with unmet needs, as we have heard in past disasters. So I just want to thank everybody for joining us today. I know one of the discussion points that we've asked the SBA to look at is helping businesses to combine their disaster loans to be able to get lower interest rates. And I know SBA is considering how they could do that. And I urge them to look into that seriously, because it would have a significant difference, make a significant difference for these businesses that are still carrying these SBA loans from past disasters like Katrina and other disasters. If they could combine those loans into one loan at the lowest interest rate, it would make a world of difference for their cash flow. So without any further questions, Ann, any other further questions?
Actually, we do have one from the floor. We've got Judy Forrester with the Small Business Development Center for Mississippi. I believe she has some extra information for small business owners.
Sure, and I really appreciate y'all putting that on, putting this on today. I'd like to add that sometimes small business owners in face of a disaster have a little difficulty gathering documents or needed materials for these loans. And sometimes the loan application process can be a little confusing for them. Our business counselors are available to assist small business owners in compiling those documents and getting those applications put in. I loved the three-legged stool comment, because that really kind of helps put that together. Our business counselors, although they have territories they work in our current environment, we are doing everything remotely. So we can be accessible through Zoom meetings, through phone, through however they want to contact us. They can just go to our website and get connected with an electronic request for counseling and be assigned to a counselor that can help them. We've got a couple of excellent, very well trained higher level disaster counselors, as well as other counselors that can help in different situations, because a lot of times business owners have this or that kind of go along with it. So feel free to reach out to us. It's msbdc.org, and we would appreciate being to help with that situation and work alongside SBA, FEMA, and MEMA to do that.
Well, let me clarify something, Judy. So this is a service that is open to businesses only, not individuals? Okay.
Right, through the SBDC, we're the Small Business Development Center, and we are regulated just for small businesses. Now, that doesn't mean that somebody that has a personal something can't be advised in some way, but it has to be primarily about a small business from our viewpoint.
Okay. Ann, any other questions?
I'm not showing any on our end. I did see a hand go up and then go down. So last call, both on Facebook and Zoom.
And Todd and Dimitri, if y'all have any final remarks, I think, it was a great information session, and we appreciate y'all taking the time to come online with us and provide this information to our residents and our businesses.
Yeah, Tricia, just very quickly, I can't thank you enough for, and your team enough for putting this together. This is just another creative avenue as a conduit of information to our citizens and specifically our business owners who are having a really tough time without Hurricane Zeta as a result of the COVID environment. I've talked to hundreds myself from March through June and July, and I know the message very well that it is a struggle. And don't think that that's lost on us for 1 minute. So again, we have to do our best to get creative to try to find, creative avenues to help these folks because that's the lifeline of your community, of these small businesses. And we know that as well as anybody, specifically in Mississippi. So I can't thank you enough. If there's any, further dialogue that we need to do via this concept, I'm totally on board with it. I appreciate very much my friends from SBA and my friend Brett Howard from the Federal Emergency Management Agency. We walk in lockstep. So if there's anything that one of us can't do, try the other one and see what happens. So we make no promises, but I will promise that we will do everything in our power within reason, that's legal, to get every potential source of available assistance to the community and the people within. That's all I have. Thank you all very, very much.
And our job is just to help our businesses and our residents wade through the information, because there's been, so many options out there for our businesses. The Paycheck Protection Program, the Employee Retention Tax Credit, and all of that can be confusing because, and then now you've got, disaster response from Hurricane Zeta. So it's just a lot of information for individuals and businesses to consume and to follow up with. So I thank y'all for giving us this information and also, reminding us to apply, and make themselves whole again. Thank you. And we look forward to seeing all of you in person soon. This concludes the session. Thank you.
Thanks, Tish.
Thanks, everyone. Have a good weekend.
Thanks,
All right,
thanks,
thank
Judy.
y'all.
Thanks.